in Vihan City, at the Sihi Preparatory Private School. All eyes in the auditorium simultaneously focused on the item box glowing with dazzling golden light in his hand. Some couldn't help but gasp and wonder, what is this? He stood on stage, smiling and speaking. He still don't understand. Juyu. Let me tell you what kind of person my big brother, truly is. Mentioning Ting Dang. His expression filled with pride as he shouted boastfully. My big brother Ting is the vessel of the spirit soul general, a heavenly tier expert at only 18 years old, the hero who turned the tide in the Battle of Ngai City, and the Lungdi County Baron personally bestowed by His Majesty. The entire auditorium suddenly fell silent. After a moment, Sen gritted his teeth and gave a bitter laugh, saying, we already know all this. How many more times are you going to repeat it? Ocho, having heard it so many times he had memorized it, reluctantly interjected. That's right. The family also strictly warned us never to provoke young Master Vintano. Daring Vudine. Tunten Zhao raised her chin and said knowingly, who doesn't know Ding Ding? The senior who graduated from the prep school before use. Wuhan City's #1 Waisno. The most dangerous person. Just mentioning that Ting is coming is enough to scare children in Wuhan City into silence at night. Trilint unconsciously moved closer to Trentin Zhao and chuckled softly. My grandmother used to scare me with Senior Vindang when I was little. Thinking about it now is hilarious. She added, yeah, I was also scared exactly like that when I was little. Thinking about the rumors between Ting Vindang and the school beauties. Lumthen's face flushed bright red as he rubbed his hands together and gave a sly laugh. Senior Vindang truly is the role model for our generation. I heard back in the prep school days, he was the study god who knew all the school beauties from different years, and he even had entanglements with our beautiful instructor, before he could finish speaking. Chunten Jiao lost her temper and delivered a heavy punch straight to his head. Lo Lai, shut your mouth, and Nancy stood behind them, quietly watching the two argue loudly. He couldn't help but think to himself, when the young miss first enrolled, for safety reasons, I had secretly investigated Ding Ding Ding. I even clashed with the Ding family guards. I never expected him to change so drastically in less than a year after leaving Wuhan City. Could it be that he intentionally kept a low profile before? Or is it related to the rumors about Ding Lan and his wife from back then? Ing Yinki stood on stage, rubbing his neck, and glancing at them. Alright, this time I'll tell you something you haven't heard before. He pointed at the item boxes in his hands, smiling brightly as he boasted loudly. My big brother Ding Ting is also the contemporary god of pills and grand master of forging. Just as he finished speaking, the box containing the spirit soul talismans was opened, revealing several talismans neatly arranged inside. Not only that, the box containing various elixirs was also open. Full bottles of pills were clearly presented before everyone's eyes. Ding Kai was so proud his nose tilted upwards. He laughed boastfully. Tada! All these pills and spirit soul talismans came from his own hands. Upon hearing this, everyone was stunned and created a commotion, asking, what? How can that be true? Sen excitedly hugged 2 bottles of pills with both hands, saying, these are 3-star soul succession pills. And there are so many of them. Heavens. These things are incredibly expensive right now. 1 pill costs 3 months of my living expenses. Then's eyes shone brightly as he looked at the bottle in his hand. This whole bottle is rejuvenation pills. If we have a bottle like this, it would be difficult for us to even die here. Who was usually calm, suddenly changed his expression. He almost couldn't believe what he was seeing, and Nancy's eyes lingered on the full bottles of pills remaining in the box. He thought to himself, those red and purple pills are combat elixirs. Could they truly be the kind rumored to boost speed 3-fold for a short time? And that yellow bottle of pills? Its origin is probably extraordinary. Phelan, standing among the students, looked at the treasures before her, and thought in surprise, although my family mentioned that the Tree family currently helps young Master Vindang distribute his pills, I never expected such a priceless box of treasures to be given to Vinkei. Young Master Vindang is truly generous, and his strength is far from ordinary. Suddenly, she pointed at the yellow pill bottle neatly placed in the box, and said in surprise and excitement, wait a minute, classmate Vinkei, is that yellow pill the yellow spirit pill that can directly increase one's small realm in the yellow tier? Hearing this, Bochu cried out in shock. What? The yellow spirit pill? Sen asked again in disbelief. Increase a small realm in the yellow tier. Then shouted loudly. Then want we? Hingvinki stood on stage, rubbing his nose and smiling smugly. Everyone relaxed. Dwarting family. These things are just trifles not worth mentioning. I consider them snacks. Having finished speaking, he turned to the crowd below and continued with a bright smile. From now on, just follow me. I won't promise anything else, but I guarantee an endless supply of pills. Sen immediately stepped forward. Good brother Vk. Then on the side quickly interjected. If you don't mind, I'd like to ask you to be my foster father. As soon as the words were out, Content Zhao behind him was so angry she nearly exploded. She threw a powerful punch at his head, causing him to stumble forward. She shouted, "Get lost." Ingvenki pointed at the box containing the spirit soul talismans, and said with a smile, "Alright, take a look at these next." Sen looked at the spirit soul talismans before him, stroking his chin in contemplation. Why do I feel like these are quite similar to the standard Yuvin-style student model from the prep school? Umthan beside him secretly compared them and spoke up. This yellow and green color scheme is clearly designed for new students. They look very much like school-issued items. Is there something different about them? Bochu stepped forward to observe carefully, then shook his head. No, this is likely not an ordinary Yuvin-style spirit soul talisman. King the Key responded with a smile. You're right. Of course it's not the ordinary Yuvin style. The spirit soul talismans brought by the Ding family are an improved Yuvin style. A special version designed specifically for the Z preparatory school. King Vinki smiled as he introduced them. All of these are improved spirit soul generals designed personally by my big brother Ding Hing after he analyzed the water element spirit soul general. He added proudly. Currently, these are only equipped for the Ding family subordinates, and a small number of elites. This heavy armor type has extremely strong defenses, and specializes in resisting frontal attacks. Equipped with a shield and a super large Wolfang club, King Vinkai enthusiastically added. You can choose to fight using two hands or by holding the shield with one hand. He continued talking non-stop. This is a guardian role specialized in drawing aggro to protect teammates in a formation. It's also the fearless front line that charges forward to break formations and tear open defensive lines. Song Yunkai then moved on to introduce another distant power type, a bombardment type specializing in long-range firepower and accurate strikes. Highly suitable for contestants with high soul force conversion efficiency and fine manipulation skills. He added that its combat power allows for choosing between two different cannon configurations depending on the battlefield situation. Song Yunkai elaborated that this distant power type or the Onicom cannon configuration serves as the team's main force, responsible for long-range air-to-air strikes and group suppression. Next was the flying sword type, equipped with 8 telekinetic flying swords on both hands, requiring extremely fast reactions and strong spiritual sensing power. Song Yunkai emphasized that combining it with a sword shield would unleash outstanding flexibility. He described its combat capabilities: mid-range for harassment and support, long-range for fighting multiple opponents, and close-range for kite-style control. It is a guerrilla vanguard specializing in mobility and finishing blows. Song Yunkai moved onto the shield gun type, an all-rounder mech that balances offense and defense, suitable for true powerhouses with stable balance and unwavering will. This distant power type can operate both from a distance and close up, and the 5 Thunder Shield gun can switch between cannon mode and single projectile mode. Song Yunkai concluded that this serves as the mobile core of the formation, suitable for handling defensive counterattacks and suppression combat. Finally, there is the air strike type, which relies on extremely high mobility to dominate the aerial battlefield, compensating for standard mech's air weaknesses. It is suitable for contestants skilled in high-speed combat and quick reactions, with extremely high demands on soul force control and battlefield judgment. Song Yunkai further explained that the air combat backpack can transform into heavy armor when on the ground. He emphasized that after transformation, it can use soul force to propel high-speed flight through the air. Song Yunkai smiled smugly and said, "It's not just an elite unit responsible for mobile control and support, but also a sharp blade capable of breaking through defense lines to decapitate enemies." Hearing these words, everyone's eyes lit up, and they all looked eager to try them out. Song Yunkai held up 2 fingers, smiling proudly as he announced, "I had to beg my big brother for ages to get these. There are exactly 2 of each mech type." Chu Heng immediately wanted to claim first. "I choose heavy armor. A true man needs protective armor and weapons in hand. One person guarding a strategic point can block many enemies." He then closed his eyes, lost in imagination, and excitedly shouted, "Airstrike is the #1 choice. Like an eagle soaring through the sky, enjoying speed and wild winds to make life worthwhile." Zhao Lingxi also quickly chimed in, "I have some experience with alchemy, and my soul force conversion rate and precise control are quite stable, so bombardment might suit me." BunRv laughed and said, I'm not sure how well I can do it, but I want to try the flying sword. Tran Tingdu confidently pointed to himself. I also choose airstrike. Hearing this, Dao Cha turned around in a panic. Duh. I also want airstrike. I want to try the feeling of flying in the sky too. Tran Tingdu immediately lunged with a kick, roaring fiercely. Damn it. There are only 2 in total. You don't deserve it. Go take bombardment instead. Gao Cha quickly ducked to avoid the kick and argued back defiantly. Go. Why and me? Just then, Song Yunqi unexpectedly jumped down from the stage. He put his hands on his hips and said sternly, quiet down. Stop making noise. Now, the class committee member and Linky will help distribute the Soul General talismans and elixirs. Perhaps we should prepare to set off. Zhao Linky raised her hand to receive the Soul General talisman from Song Yunqi, saying, alright. Sun Yanan awkwardly took the bottle of elixirs and quickly and seriously replied, alright, classmate Yunqi. Sun Mo looked at the elixirs being distributed by Sun Yanan, slightly furrowing his brow as he thought to himself, how deep is the background behind Song Yunqi? Exactly. Immediately after that, Song Yunqi unexpectedly jumped back onto the stage. He clenched his fist and raised it high, saying excitedly, that's right. We should give this squad a truly impressive name. Xu Heng laughed and suggested, how about calling ourselves the Indestructible Alliance Squad of Chu, Bu, Dao, and Shen descendants? Lin Shen rubbed his chin and retorted, that's too long-winded. Since we're all academic failures, let's just call ourselves the Bad Students Squad for simplicity. Tran Tingdu angrily swung his fists wildly at him. Scram. Who did you call a bad student? You're the bad student. And your whole family are bad students. A moment later, Lin Shen huddled to one side clutching his head full of bombs, not daring to make a sound. Tran Tingdu turned to glare at Xu Heng. And this damn fatty. It must be Chen. Zhao. Xu. But Chen must come first. Dao Chao pushed up his glasses and said seriously, a regular squad usually has a leader. According to the standards of the Tuyade Bira Secret Service, special operations teams consist of 4 mechs per squad. He turned to look at Uncle Chuoba and continued, not counting Uncle. We have 9 people. This exceeds a standard squad, but isn't enough for a platoon. In short, we shouldn't call ourselves a squad. Falling as a platoon is also fine. Xu Hen lightly patted Dao Cha's shoulder and chuckled. Alright, bookworm. Let's think about these brain-teasing matters later. Song Yunqi stood on the stage with an awkward smile. His gaze turned to stare intently into the distance. Being looked at, Dao Linqi blinked, let out a long sigh, and said, don't look at me. I truly don't have any ideas. Sun Yanan stared wide-eyed at him and replied honestly, me neither. Sun Xiaofu awkwardly shook his head repeatedly. The combat situation within the city remained tense. Song Yunqi sighed and said, forget it. Time waits for no one. Let's just go first, and think along the way. Xu Heng smiled and suggested calling it the Invincible Squad, which sounded decent. Lin Chen smiled confidently. How about the Young and Pretty Boy Squad? Chen Tingyo retorted angrily. Get lost. Why not the Young and Pretty Girl Squad? Tao Zhu reminded everyone. With this many people, it can't be called a squad. Listening to their arguments, Sun Mo felt his heart fill with doubt, wondering if this group of people was truly reliable. In Yongmin City, near the crossover gate on the southeast axis, Timao carried Song Yunqi, swiftly gliding through the air. Below them, the battlefield was filled with thick smoke and roaring beasts. Song Yunqi frowned, his expression sinking. Timao immediately accelerated and shot forward. Just then, Song Yunqi suddenly opened his mouth to ask, how does it feel to break through to the heavenly ranked? Timao's eyes lit up as she turned her head to look at Song Yunqi on her back. She smiled brightly and said, it feels awesome. Flying through the air really feels like a bird spreading its wings. When I return to my tribe, I must show off to my older sister and the clan leader. Just then, Song Yunqi seemed to sense something. He gave a slight start, and his relaxed expression instantly turned serious. He determined that there were still 7 large flying ferocious beasts ahead. Hearing this, Timao quickly stopped in midair. She tilted her head and looked around, her expression full of confusion, as if several large question marks appeared in her mind. Aha, where exactly? Song Yunqi opened the selection panel for the spiritual soul general. He smiled and said, prepare for battle. This time, they'll switch to a different one for you to experience. Timao looked at him awkwardly with her round eyes and replied, okay. Song Yunqi shouted loudly, spiritual soul configuration. The spot where the 2 people were floating in mid-air suddenly erupted in a dazzling blue light. A moment later, The energy configuration quickly completed, and the spiritual soul general instantly materialized in the sky. Song Yunki shouted again. Spiritual soul variation. He continued to shout. Spiritual soul variant Yu Fei. As soon as the words were spoken, the spiritual soul general Yu Fei, having just completed its configuration, changed color, and light purple energy spread around its body. Song Yunki controlled the spiritual soul general Yu Fei to draw its bow. The divine armament bow was activated, and a radiant purple energy arrow quickly condensed inside the spiritual soul general Yu Fei. Song Yunki shouted loudly. Shattering arrow. 10,000 arrows returned to dust. As soon as the words finished, the arrow shot forward and transformed into a rain of arrows pouring straight ahead.